So don't forget y'all to subscribe and like the video, and also don't forget to run up our downloads. And if you're gonna download us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leave a review. Please leave a review. Please leave a rating so we can rank high in those search engines and all of that good stuff. Last night I want to talk about this a little bit because we had some other fun stuff planned for this episode. But did anybody see what happened to Portland last night? They got the shit beat out of them by the Celtics. Yeah.
I heard about it.
Yeah, they let Boston shoot like 50, I think over 55% from three and from the floor, and Jaylen Brown wasn't even there. And Chauncey Billups called him out. Chauncey Billups made a statement, and let me pull up my article here. Chauncey Billups made a statement that lack of pride, that bothers me. If that doesn't bother you, there's something going on. Sometimes it's not your night. Cool, it happens. There's a way I'm willing to lose, and that's not the way I'm willing to lose. It was embarrassing. So Chauncey Billups called out the team. This isn't the first time he's called out this Blazers team. He's done it a couple times. Yeah. Really, really weird situation because this is his first year. And I guess we were a little, I mean, how did you guys feel about, I know we did talk about this like back maybe in the summer, but at first, how did you guys feel about the hiring of Chauncey Billups and that transition from Terry Stotts?
I thought he was a good coach for the job. I just don't think he should have taken that job because it was just too much going on from a organization standpoint. They just fired the GM for his conduct issue. That's a bad job to take. Talent wise, I get why he took it. But as far as being an organization that's, standing for something, that's probably a bad job to take, honestly.
I gotta agree with Coral. Organizational wise, they're a dumpster fire. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he's there more than 2 years. Yeah. 2 years, honestly, because it's just been. I know, new coaches, you got to take some time to get used to things, but good God, it's been ugly.
Yeah. Carl, we all mentioned it being a dumpster fire. Like for you to be a head coach and it's your first time and to go to Portland where like over the entire like offseason, everything was unstable, right? Like we thought Damian Lillard was going to get traded. We didn't know what was going on with the roster. Some guys left. There were some trades that some people thought didn't make any sense. And it's just a really weird job to take if you're a first time head coach. And he was on the Clippers staff before this. Was he on? Whose coach staff was he on before this? Was it the Clippers?
It was the Clippers.
I think he was an assistant with them.
Yeah. And it's just a tough one to take, like, because you didn't even know if your star, like for a minute, we didn't even know Damian Lillard was going to be on this team at this point of the season. And we don't even know he's going to be on this team by the middle of the season. We don't know what the hell's going to happen.
I'll say this, just watching him play, he really doesn't look like he wants to be there sometimes.
Yeah.
He just has those moments where I'm not sure he actually wants to be playing for them. Yeah. I don't know if you all see the same thing, but
I'm going to be honest, I have not watched any Portland games this season. I've watched a bunch of highlights and I've looked at their numbers.
This is not worth your time.
It's
not. It's really not.
Because, I mean, the funniest thing about this team to me is this. We've talked about how bad they are defensively over like the last 2 or 3 seasons. In their last 2 to 3 seasons in the offseason, they've been committed to getting more defensive guys. Look at last offseason or a couple. I forget when they went and got Derrick Jones and Robert Covington. They still sucked on defense. This summer or last summer, they lost Derrick Jones. They keep Robert Covington and bringing Larry Nance, and they're worst defensive team in the NBA right now. That's like totally inexcusable. You make every move to get better defensively over the last 3 seasons, and you still suck at defense. Offensively, they're just fine. I think they're top 10. They may be in the top 10 as far as offensive rating goes right now. But as we mentioned before, you're not getting over the hump if you can't do it on both ends. We said that last episode. So.
Yeah, it's just I don't like Dame. He's actually come alive the last couple games. His average is crawling back up to 22. Or whatever. So he's definitely playing better, but it's just like as far as him being in tune with the team, I don't really see him. I really don't see him mentally and fit. He's physically there, but mentally he just doesn't look there.
I think it's time for a change of scenery.
I agree.
He's been there going on almost a decade.
His whole career. Bro. Yeah.
It's about time. You've tried it again. I think it's about time to go try something else.
Yeah, without a doubt. Or, I mean, okay, so does Damian Lillard need to go first to CJ McCollum? I think about that because it's not a loss for Portland. Like you could trade both one or two of those guys and get guys back and then be in a good position. So do you think it has to be Dame has to get the hell out of Portland, or could it also be CJ and they can make something work from there? Because CJ's a high quality player with a big contract.
Yeah, it could be CJ. I think that they may be in the long run, a better option, but I think what people in the media want to see is it's focused on Dame.
Yeah.
You put him kind of on the back burner, and it's like, okay, we're focused on Dame. He needs to get out of here. He's been here all this time. He hasn't accomplished anything. I don't even think he's got he hasn't accomplished a lot there, individually and team wise. So I think it's you know how media wise how they are.
Where would you like to see him end up?
I mean, I don't even know if I want to see him move from Portland. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just really think there are things that I guess, but then I just think there are still a lot of assets on this team to where they can bring guys back. Cause I just really think their trade moves have not been the best. I think they've had assets, but they could have brought something back better than what they have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can agree with you, but I feel like it's the same thing with them every yeyear. They should be better at defense. They're not. They play inconsistent. They'll score like 130 points one game. They barely. It's inconsistent. I'm tired of hearing the same thing with Modesty. So I want them to leave.
Yeah, you keep on doing it. They just keep repeating the same cycle of release, letting other guys walk, bringing in new guys. They better doing it. They doing that. They ain't doing nothing.
It's like potty training a kid, bro. You potty train him and he keep on making the same mistakes. Come back and you like, dang, I thought I just told you or taught you.
You call that a mistake.
Well, you know what I mean. I probably said it the wrong way, but you get it.
And there are a lot of trades in hindsight that were bad. Like, okay, I'm not mad that they went and brought in like a Larry Nance. I'm not bad last offseason they brought in who are the defensive guys I mentioned, Derek Jones and Robert Covington. But then I remember midseason. I remember in the middle of midseason last year, they went and made that trade and got Norman Powell and moved Gary Trent away. And now you look at Gary Trent Jr., and for a lot of people from some standards, he's defensive player of the year, at least an all defense first team guy. And he's also producing at a high level on the offensive end. You know, so on top of the coaching and on top of the defense, and as you guys mentioned, kind of the lack of wanting to be there, because I mean, there's been somewhat of a level of bad trades and trade ideas that didn't make sense. They could have definitely, made some more moves in what they did to be in a better position. So I don't know. I don't really want to do this thing also where it falls, and we're not doing it, but I feel like at some point it's going to kind of become the conversation. People are going to put it on Chauncey Billups, which I'm going to hate. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's no reason. This team was kind of like this before he even took it over. It has really nothing to do with him. That's what happens when you take over the dysfunctional organization or team. You kind of get that blame. That's why I didn't want him to take it.
Yeah.
You can't blame this on him, dude. Just like Carl said, look at the team. I'm not calling it a bad team. Just look at
it's not bad.
Yeah, look at the situation he inherited. It's not a good one.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah,
your head coach.
Yeah, GM did some bad stuff. Lord knows the owner did.
Yeah. What was the thing? What was the thing that happened with the GM? I forgot what it was.
It was conduct. I can't say this.
He was doing some misconduct.
Oh, he was doing. Oh, he was on the. Okay, he was doing that type of stuff. And there was something that just happened with the owner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what was? I think he was like. Was it like racism or something? Like a hostile workplace, or something like that.
Yeah, it was like that was Phoenix. That was Phoenix owner. But the owner had other stuff too with conduct. I know it's all type of stuff going on over there. Happened. That's what happens in Oregon.
Man, yeah. Well, and it's a shame, man. I mean, really, and you guys mentioned Dame, he accomplished. Dame's pretty much everything he's accomplished individually has been all-stars, right? Like he's had a couple All-NBA teams here and there, maybe not a couple, but a little more than a couple. But we expect his talent level. We're expecting MVP or something more than that, and we've seen him have too many like amazing moments in the playoffs and all of this stuff. And we think talent-wise, he's one of the best players in the NBA. And you really hate seeing a guy like that on such a dysfunctional organization that just can't get it right, So I think a lot of it stems from, and it could just be this, maybe they do have the right role players around him. Just maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Just maybe the CJ McCollum and Dame duo just doesn't work together. So that's why I'm saying, that's why I made the point earlier that you could just move one or two of those guys. If you move Dame, you're going into the direction to where you're totally rebuilding. If you move CJ, you're still trusting that Dame's your best player and you're still possibly getting, no, not possibly. You still are getting a super high quality player in return. You know what I mean? So I think it's, it's kind of like a choose your path sort of thing, so it's tough. Like, should Portland just blow it up right now, or should they just try to see what they can do and then move CJ and then kind of work around, because if you move CJ, you're talking about bringing back somewhat of a star player and more role players to fill out your roster. So it could work both. I guess it could work both ways. Maybe
it can work. It can work with the way you said, like you can get a like kind of a borderline, maybe all-star type of player, maybe probably a borderline because he should be an all-star, but he's in the West, so that's kind of hard. But if he was in the East, I think he would definitely make.
Is it a lock that he would be an all-star in the East though?
I think here's what I say. I think
I wouldn't say it's as easy as people.
It's easier than the West.
And I'll say that, yeah, but still, it's still a lot of talent in the East too.
It is.
And if he was in the East, he'd have a couple by now. Like in the West, I think what Carl's saying is like in the West, there's like no way he's gonna make it. But in the East, he'd have at least a couple. You know what I'm saying?
In the West, it's so many like just guard heavy, just all over the place. It's so many prestige guards. But in the East, it is too, but it's not nowhere near as much.
Yeah.
Like who's a guard that made it last year? I'm trying to think.
NBA East All Stars. I did not watch I watched a little bit of All Star game, and I can't even tell you who was in it for real. None of it. Yeah, you didn't watch none of it.
No, I've been done with it for last. I watched the 3-point contest.
I regretted watching that dunk contest too.
The dunk contest.
I told y'all the dunk contest needs to go, or they need to do what Blake said and actually invite professional dunkers to it.
Yeah, that dunk contest was some shit last year. That was absolutely some shit.
Because Obi Toppin, I was like, Obi Toppin's in, and I'm excited, and that was born.
Every year they do this thing where I think, or they'll have a good one like every 3 years, and they'll be like, the dunk contest is back, and then nothing. Back. Yeah.
Real quick before you say, I'm just so tired of people doing through the leg dunks. That's just so old.
Or the side of the backboard and yeah. Okay, so in the East, our all-star guards were Brad Beal, Kyrie. So he's not making it over one of those two guys. Zach LaVine. So yeah,
it was Kyrie and who?
Brad Beal.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're talking like maybe over the last 5 years, CJ could have been one. You know what I mean? Yeah. Within the last, he could have been one or two, maybe. Yeah. Who knows?
But also, it's like positionless basketball. Sometimes they just. They'll get a lot of cards to be all-stars. Yeah. So it's always not necessarily position that you think, to be honest.
After they announce those starters, that bench is pretty much whoever the hell it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's a world where there are two different, schools of thought. One, you could just move Dame and go into rebuild mode. Second, you could move CJ, commit to Dame. Maybe you move CJ, include some other pieces, and then like there's still always that possibility, and just kind of reconstruct your surrounding around Damian Lillard, which, like I said, you have the room and the guys to do. Larry Nance, I think he's been used really weirdly here, but I think he's a good trade asset. I think Yusuf Nurkic in the right situation it could be a good trade asset. He's kind of about him. Yeah, because he's been unproductive, hasn't been doing shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I forgot about him.
Yeah, so there are definitely worlds where it can work around Dame, where you can still keep him and have him as your best player. But then also, like I said, you could rebuild and blow it up, which is something we've seen teams do before. And I wouldn't be surprised with all that's happening. I wouldn't be surprised if Dame came in at some point and said, "Fuck it, trade me." You know what I mean? We expected that. We talked about that before. We expected it to happen.
He just has like subliminal tweets and just Todd's favorite word, passive aggressive words and everything. Just saying, he'll say a rap bar like this. I'm paraphrasing. If you don't want me to leave my home, give me what I want. He'll say
something like that. Did you come up? Is that a bar? Did you come up with that on the spot?
I just off the dome. I ain't gonna tell him, but off the dome.
Yeah.
But no, it could work the way you said it, but also just blowing it up, you could get a lot of assets and a lot of playoff. Yeah. So it's definitely beneficial for both sides.
I agree. They're one of the teams right now. If they blow it up, they're going to be in a pretty good spot as far as rebuilding teams go. You know what I mean? Like Orlando, they just going to keep rebuilding until they can find something. There's no, so it's like, it's kind of like that. They're in a good spot to where they can move a bunch of guys and get as many young guys as they want to kind of build another core. Toronto did Toronto really blow it up?
They have not really, because they still kept Siakam. They still kept Van Vliet.
Yeah.
Most of that championship team is still there, I think, save for
third Serge Ibaka left. That's about it.
Yeah.
Kawhi, Ibaka, and Gasol. So
then Kyle Lowry's gone.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry, he was a big piece. They still look in pretty good shape to like compete for like a playoff spot over the next few years, because your boy, what's the rookie? I keep forgetting his name.
Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes.
Scotty shot look good.
It does. Nick Nurse wants him to take more threes too. I saw like Fred VanVleet talk about it in the post game. He got benched because he wasn't taking enough. So it's good to know your coach has that much confidence in you. But yeah. I think he pulled him out the game and he was telling him to shoot more or some shit like that. But yeah, I think Portland's a weird situation. The funny thing about it is this. I feel like all of our like preseason takes, we did a whole episode, we shitted on our preseason takes, but a lot of our preseason takes are actually starting to come to fruition. We did think it was going to be a point with Portland. I mean, I was a little optimistic. I'm always optimistic about this type of shit, but we all pretty much knew at some point Portland was going to hit this rut to where they're going to want to demand, or Dame's going to want to demand a trade, or one of their key guys is going to want to move out. It was either that or they have a solid enough team to get to the playoffs. And the thing I just mentioned is not going to happen. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Maybe they do get to the playoffs, but nothing's going to happen out of the first round.
I'm going to tell you, you never know, because they always, over the last 3 years, they've started so slow at the beginning of the regular season, maybe even halfway, and then before you know it, boom, they take off, win like 20 of their last 30, and they make the playoffs as a 6 seed. That's what it seems like, 6 seed. But then they lose.
That won't be happening this year.
Yeah. And Blake, even if that does happen, it's still kind of like, it's still a waste. I feel like if you still get 6 seed, and then like you're still going to be in the same, they're going to get a 6 seed and they're going to lose in the first round. They're not beating anybody unless something like miraculous happens. They're not beating anybody in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs, so they're going to still end up coming back to this point, it seems like, to where they want to rebuild, and move, or at least rebuild around Dame or vice versa, move everybody out, then just start that rebuilding thing we just mentioned.
Let me,
it's a streak of mediocrity. That's literally all it is. A streak of mediocrity. I don't know how much longer they want to go on this mediocre road trip.
Mediocre.
But
mediocre.
Mediocre. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't even know why Portland got a team, bro. I know that's extreme, but like, what's in Portland?
No, they say Oregon's a good place. Like, is a dope place. Yeah, they say Oregon's a dope place.
They do have nice college football. They got, but I'm just, I don't know.
There's Portland, a lot of trees too.
Yeah,
it is nothing but trees. You can't even see where you're going. All
I go to Oregon. I go to Oregon. Oregon's like a nice place. I've heard it's a nice place to leave.
Would you go to Portland?
You go to Oregon?
Portland, Oregon.
Yeah. What other cities is it in Oregon? Because I don't know.
It's called Portland, Oregon.
No, I'm saying Oregon.
Oh, like, you talking about Portland? Would I go to Portland, the city? Yeah, Portland, the city's got good stuff in it. I've heard. Yeah, it's got a good atmosphere.
I was just talking about the state in general. I was like, I don't know any other cities in Oregon.
Oh, well, I mean, Portland's obviously the staple city, but I go to Portland. Yeah, it's got nice stuff there.
To do what?
To go, man. I don't know shit. I mean, honestly though, outside of like New York and Chicago, because I don't travel a ton, so if I like go to any city, I'm not gonna know what I'm gonna do. I feel like I'm just gonna walk around and check it out, and I feel like Portland's kind of a nice place. Maybe, I don't know. Have you guys been there?
No, hell no. It's nice. It's probably nice.
Blake, like, I ain't got no business going down there.
I already told you on my list of states that I'll never touch.
Which one? What's that list?
Wyoming.
Montana, Idaho, both Dakotas,
both
Maine,
of them. Both.
New Mexico. That's probably. Oh, Utah. I'll never touch Utah.
Yo, hell no, I ain't touching no damn Utah.
I ain't even looking at it on the map.
Nah, I go to Wyoming. They said Wyoming's dope, bro.
Oh, Wyoming too.
Yeah.
No.
I would go to Wyoming.
I go to Wyoming.
When Josh Allen went.
I go to Kanye's ranch, bro. Kanye got a whole ranch down in Wyoming, bro.
He sold that. So you just go in there and look at the cows then.
I'm buffaloes. Yeah, something like that.
The buffaloes.
Yeah.
That's where I would never go real quick. I would never go to Buffalo ever.
Buffalo, New York. That's where your boy Benny the Butcher and them from.
Yeah, look at him too. Yeah, nah. I ain't going there.
I ain't trying to get that Benny.
You're a monster. I ain't going there.
Shout out to everybody from those states.
Yeah, they gonna hate us. They gonna be like, "Why you talking about my city?"
We ain't mentioned Maine. What are people from Maine at? I ain't know people live in Maine.
Man,
might be aliens in Maine. You never know. But
yeah. I don't know. I've never known anybody from fucking Maine. I've never known anybody from there. We sound like Joakim Noah. Remember Joakim Noah was at that press conference?
What's so special about Cleveland?
Yeah. Yeah, man. But hopefully Portland gets it right. There are a lot of different things that could happen. And I really do think, even though right now things look ugly, as far as from a future perspective, when you look at things down the road, there's always the now and there's always the future. I think there are a lot of moves that they can make to end up with something positive down the road. They're not in like a shit situation where they're still trying to, they can move their guys away right now and have a young, solid core to build from, still get a bunch of draft assets, all of that. What you have is a duo that's not working. And whenever you have a duo of guys who isn't working and they're your two best players, I think you're in a good position to get good pieces back. Like if this Ben Simmons shit didn't happen where he's doing all the extra stuff to where he doesn't want to play and all of that, Philly would be in a situation where they'd be able to get value back for Ben Simmons. Maybe. Depends on how you look at it. You know what I mean? So when you have a but if you have a duo that doesn't work, at some point, if you want to trade one of those two guys, you can look at getting value back, a bunch of value back to still be like somewhat of a contender or a solid team in the here and now or whatever. So